Cafecito con Negocio Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Guillermo Will D. Jesus, CPA and CFO of Negozi, America's first social professional platform in Spanish language. Y'all check us out at negozi.com. And this is Cafecito con Negozi, our little podcast. We do it a little bit different. We keep all of our podcasts under 10 minutes. So all we have here is 9 minutes and 59 seconds. We have an awesome guest today. His name is Luis Omar Figueroa from New York City, in the mortgage game for 20 years. The name of his brand is HGRN, and he also has a Latin brand. The way we do it on Negozi, everybody has a general market brand, and they have a Latino-based brand. His Latino-based brand is called Si Prestamo. Luis Omar, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
I feel like I'm a little under pressure because you said 10 minutes or less. I'm ready to go.
No, I try to design this communication really quick. It's not like something you could do with a relationship, but we could do it on the podcast.
Very efficient. Yeah, get to it. I got you. Okay, I'm ready.
So, I'm going to run down what we want to talk about because it's very interesting to me. First of all, we are in Luis Omar's house. I pulled up, right?
Pull up.
Everybody knows you don't have to work from home every day. You could visit cool people like Omar, friends, work from their office, do a couple podcasts. What are we getting out of working by our damn self or with the family every day at the house? Not
the magic is in the mastermind, right? So being around each other, you see different things. We were talking about things that are off camera, like totally not related, but they actually do relate if you start really peeling back the layers. So yeah, I agree with that. 644 South Avenue in the Bronx, parking lot, 3-story building, and this is built for the experience. I want people to come here and have experiences and have a good place to go. Like before, like after, or before during COVID, this should have all kind of fell apart. So this is one of my pet projects.
I agree, man. I agree. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. We had a nice talk before this podcast. Now we're going to move it on. All right. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. I love the mortgage, the capital game. I'm a CPA. I have my tax practice for forever. I've always thought about maybe getting into the mortgage, the capital, the lending game, but I've never done it, right? I've never done it because I was like, I'd rather partner with people like Luis and see, and my practice took off. I took it in different directions, but really what I want to get to the bottom of is, what's the nitty gritty of becoming a licensed mortgage or licensed capital provider. I know it goes by city, state. I want to get into that. I want to get into the licensing requirements, the exam. Is it difficult? Is it not a big deal? I want to get into what happens in year 1, year 2, and year 3. Like, what does year 1 look like for a novice or early days mortgage broker? And what does year 3 and beyond look like? Right? Then I want to talk about what's a typical day for a mortgage broker. What does it look like? And then I want to cover a little bit, all in under 10 minutes.
You eat up the time.
The money. I want to talk about what is a good, bad, ugly mortgage professional expect to make in terms of cash. Talk to me. So first thing, let's talk about residential, business loans, and personal loans and how they differ, and what you think about those 3 lines, whether you think people should do all 3, not like, how do you break up those verticals, Luis?
I believe that you're only limited by your mindset, right? I've heard people talk about, so on top of being on the residential, the commercial, and the private money side, I also have the real estate brokerage, right? So that's a whole other vertical that we won't talk about now, but just to give you an example, I kind of fell into them because out of necessity of my clients, who are my friends that kind of grew into my clients. So on the residential side, look, the cost of entry or the barrier to entry is very low. 20 hours of licensing, 3 hours in New York, you gotta get sponsored, pass a criminal background check, and that's it. Pass the test, you're in, right? That's the easy part, I believe. The hard part is, how do you make it, to go to your last question, how do you make it something you can live off? Like, I've been into different places where there's 50 guys there, or guys and girls, right? Being politically correct, and maybe 5 people make enough money to feed their family. So so either you're dedicated to it and you can make you can go 7 figures. You can go 5, 6, 7 figures, depending on how dedicated you are to it. It just becomes you treat it like a real job. Like you said, how does it all starts with who knows you, right? Like first you got to be great at what you do. That's part one. And then you got to let everybody know how great you are in a non kind of asshole way. So basically it's marketing and relationship building at the same time, trying, and also looking at it as something that is a long-term thing. If this is your career, not something that you're just trying to get transactions. You can get transactions, but you don't want that. You want people calling you back. They'll refer their family, their friends, their kids. If you're in this game a long time, I've done parents, I've done their kids, I've done whole families. So it becomes that. So the barrier to entry is not hard. So let me you don't need college education. You don't need any of that.
Oh, so let's talk about that, Omar. I love it, Luis. So the exam, you don't have to be a college graduate. You just have to be an American citizen to take the exam. Is that right? Or an American?
I don't know about the American citizen part. You threw that in there, but I don't know about that. You just take the exam. I mean, remember, this licensing started in like 07, 08. Okay. When I got in 04, 05, there was no licensing requirements. And then
what's the licensing board, Omar? Is it
NMLS?
NMLS, National Mortgage Licensing Services, right?
Right.
Okay. Cool. And then the exam. You think you have to study what? 3 weeks for the exam?
When I took mine, well, they do it where they gauge. You got to take the 20 hours, and they're recording you as you take it. Online, like all these tests are now, so you have to do 20 hours. So however you break it up, it could be 3 weekends, it could be a week, whatever it is. And then you take your test, right? And it's So you
have to do 20 hours of training and take a test.
Correct.
Oh, look at that. So the CPA, just so you guys know, you don't have to do any of that. You have to study, but they're not tracking your studies.
Okay.
You do what you have to do, and if you don't study right, you're going to fail. Right. So, but this is interesting. They actually make you do 20 hours of
20 hours of required studying, right? So it has to be verified that they clocking you on a computer. Wow. They did 20 hours.
Okay, that's interesting. Cool. So you get your license, you're there. Now you don't never have to take that exam again. You just have to do 20 hours.
You got every other year or every year you have to do continuing education.
Gotcha.
That's
same like anything else. I got
like real estate, right? All that. And then you have to be sponsored. Like you can't just get the license because you feel like it. You got to be sponsored by a sponsoring mortgage company, whether it be Chase or a smaller one. And they have to sponsor you and basically be responsible for you as a loan originator, because now you're dealing with people's confidential information and all that.
Let's talk about that a little bit, Luis. You could be a mortgage originator. What are the 3 tiers of that situation once you pass the exam?
No, there's no tiers.
Okay.
You get the license, and then now if you're going to a company that has their own culture, they'll do tiers. But I mean, look, it's a 1099 position. It's not W2, right? So you go in there, you negotiate your deal.
Got it.
This is what I'm worth. This is what I want. People, splits. Not without going too much into that. You go negotiate your deal, and your deal, you're going to be every quarter you'll be evaluated. Like if we give you a split, are you hitting your numbers? Are you doing better? All that. If you're doing better, you negotiate up. If you're doing not as good, they negotiate you down. That's how it works.
All right, now. I was going to ask you this, and I'm not sure you're going to want to divulge this to the public. But let's talk about a typical deal and what a year 1, year 2, year 3 mortgage professional will make on a typical deal, right? Because I don't know. I buy properties. They talk about points.
Well, to be totally transparent, and anybody can check this out, is everything's based on loan amount, right? Okay. So if we're talking about residential financing, 1 to 4 family primary residence, if that's what I'm talking about right now, there's a cap of 2.75% that is you're able to either charge the client or the bank can pay you. You cannot get from both sides. That was one of the major changes in 08, right? Okay. That's built into your pricing, and then whoever's charging it, what the mortgage broker is charging it, whatever your split is with your company is then what you get.
Does that include points?
That is points. Now, that's origination points. Now, if there's discount points to really lower your rate, that's something together separate. But there is a threshold. You can't charge too many of both, or they'll stop you because the high cost loan.
So that's cool. So you should expect. So essentially, $500,000 loan is going to yield 2.75% of that is what the mortgage professional and everyone involved could possibly take from that?
Well, let me correct you. That's the max.
That's the max.
That's the max, right? So it could be lower, or like your friends and family, stuff like that. You do things for less because you want them to get the best deal possible.
Good stuff. I like it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Business capital professionals, personal loan professionals, they're not under the umbrella, right?
No.
Right.
Business purpose lending or business BPC, business purpose capital. We're lending to entities, and this is for transactions and mortgages. That is a 5% cap, right? Unsecured mortgage lending, like lending not on real estate, I don't know. I don't do those. And from what I understand, I have people that do it. There's a lot more money involved, but the loan amounts are a lot smaller, so it's kind of like, economy of scale, basically. They're charging more for less.
Gotcha. All right. Let's wrap up on year 1, year 2, year 3 mortgage professional, Luis.
Okay.
What should somebody expect year 1, year 2, and then year 3 and beyond in this game?
You expect what you put into it. My first deal ever, I can tell you what it was. It was $108,000. I think my paycheck from that deal was like $1,800. And it was 20 years ago, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. It was my first deal. My biggest check has been, 6 figures on a deal. You graduate to that. The truth of the matter is, the zeros moving over to the right, same problems, but you have to be able to navigate these problems and understand and have an education to guide your client. So I don't want to minimize it. Everybody gets lucky. They have a friend that wants to do a deal with them. It could be a big deal. That's great. But I believe that as you get better, it gets easier for you to earn your money, right? Ooh. So first year I did half a year, 3 months. This was before the meltdown. I did 80,000 gross fees, right? During the meltdown 08, I think it was 120, which is 6 figures, and that was big money back then. I mean, people were getting out of the business all day, but I was starting to learn the business, and I did that. And now luckily I do closer to 7 figures than 6. So
good for you, man. Awesome. I love it. All right, now let's talk about buyers. Let's talk about people that are buying residence. We got a couple minutes. Buying their home, buying their first, second, third home. They're professionals, or maybe they're buying a rental property and all that. How important is credit, and how important is the down payment? Can you trump bad credit with a really, really high down payment these days, or not?
I mean, no, you can. It's possible to get the deal done. It just becomes how expensive it gets, right? And not to demonize the business, but the riskier it looks, the more it looks like you won't pay back, the higher the interest rate. Because at the end of the day, man, in New York State especially, it's incredibly hard to foreclose and take a property. So, people are like, oh, you're charging mad money. I'm like, yeah, but if you don't pay me, and I've had conversations with clients that we've had to foreclose on, unfortunately, and it's not their fault either. There's things that they can't control. They don't end up paying us back. Like, we got legal fees. You got to go to the court. You got to. I mean, that's the cost of doing business. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm not trying to lobby for hard money. But I'm saying it's all possible. And if there's a lender out there telling you it's not possible, then call me because I can make it.
Got it. Understood. All right, man. Anything you have to say to new mortgage professionals that are about to take the exam and about to take that leap, and they're about to be a mortgage professional, and they're serious about it? Do you want them to join you? Do you bring younger people under your arm, or what's your suggestion to them, and do you want to work with them?
My suggestion to them is they have to come into it with their eyes open and understand there's gonna be a lot of work, especially year one. There's a big lift, right? You're trying to create a business of yourself. Why do they think about me? Just to give you an example, right? Why do people think about me for lending? I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on advertising, social media. I say that number on purpose, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not like, yo, I feel like I'm on the gram. No. I spend, and it's there's Facebook ads, there's Google ads, so it's a business. So if you're serious about your business, and I can only do that because I can afford it. So if you can't afford it, you got to get more creative, and you got to work even harder in the beginning for less return. Right. But in the beginning, you have time, right? So if you're willing to work hard and give time, then I'm open to working with you. If you think you're going to be me in 2 days, then it's a disrespect to me. I'm 20 years in, and it's disrespect to yourself because now you're not being realistic, right?
Awesome. How do we get in touch with you? How do they get in touch with you, Luis Omar Figueroa?
Ask Luis Omar on every platform. just ask Luis Omar or Luis Omar at ciprestamos.com.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Luis. I really appreciate it. My name is Guillermo Will De Jesus, co-founder and CFO of Negozi. And today we were speaking to the owner of HGRN and Ciprestamos.
Talk about Miami.
Oh, Miami. My event in Miami. I appreciate it. Y'all want to be in Miami May 9th? We're going to be in Wynwood. We're kicking off the Miami chapter of Negozi on Thursday, May 9th. It starts at 11. And then the stage actually starts at 1. Then there's a mixer at 4. We're going to basically do it the Hispanic business way in Miami. Actually, in Miami, I believe it's going to be Small Business Week that week as well. So if y'all in Miami, check us out. We're going to be at the Mana 320 event space, which is a super cool space, amazing stage. There's going to be drinks, everything. We expect to see you guys there. Also, we invited our folks over at NAREP, the National Association of Hispanic Realty Professionals. So we're going to be basically sharing that entire venue on May 9th, Thursday in Miami. It is located in Wynwood. I don't know if you guys know Wynwood, but Wynwood is a really cool spot to have any event and your drink of choice.
Drink of choice, baby. Drink of choice.
Thank you so much, guys. Check us out on Negozi. Later.
Negozi, I'll be there.
Cafecito con Negozi.